All right, well, hello everyone, and welcome to the YouTube version of my homily for the fifth and final Sunday of Lent. And pretty interesting gospel today, one most people know to a degree. It's where Jesus says, "He who is without sin, throw the first stone." But, above and beyond all other things, what really popped out preparing for this weekend is that this gospel is also kind of a warning against the dangers of political extremism. So don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Let me explain what I mean by that. So last weekend, I'm just hanging out with some friends, just good old boring weekend chill time. And one of my friends brought up a video that he recently watched by John Cleese, one of the Monty Python guys, and he made this video back in the 60s. And it was a spoof, it was a parody, but it was a political ad for political extremism. And basically what he said was, hey, you should really give it a go, it's great. It lets you feel morally superior while abusing other people and treating them horribly at the exact same time. What else lets you do that? Really funny video. He goes on, he makes a little bit more detail for the argument, but that was the core concept, and that's what I wanted to bring up today because, he brought it up and then we laughed at it and got on with our afternoon, but, I couldn't shake the idea that was a fantastic definition of what extremism is in the first place. Whether it's political, religious, environmental, you name it. You are an extremist in some way when your beliefs overwhelm your moral common sense, which is what equips you to be a basic, decent person. So when it comes to your political opinions, your views, your beliefs, your values, your faith, if you want to prove to other people that these are good things and they make you a better person, you need to be a good person. It's insultingly simple when we phrase it like that. But I think we can all agree it's easier said than done sometimes. So with that preamble in mind, let's take a look at our scribes and Pharisees in the gospel today. So if you're unfamiliar with the story, the idea is that at the start of the gospel reading, these scribes and Pharisees, these religious leaders, they drag out a woman, in the public square or whatever, and apparently she's guilty of a pretty serious crime for that culture. And we're going to completely gloss over how these guys caught her red-handed. That's a little suspicious to say the least, but you know what? We're going to just save that for another time. They drag this woman out. They make a big show of it. And if Jesus wasn't going to get involved, this was going to end pretty badly for her. This is a case of those scribes and Pharisees being extremists. They have their set of beliefs and values. They have, as they would probably describe it themselves, zeal for the law. And that's a good thing. But their zeal for the law became so strong in them, it overwhelmed them, it blinded them. It's like they were almost drunk on how right they were when it came to their beliefs and values. So they kind of forgot what it really means to be a religious leader of the people in the first place. And in that moment, they probably felt remarkably morally superior. Even though for us, the readers of the gospel, we can tell there is nothing superior about their behavior on this day. That's where Jesus gets involved. And what does Jesus do? Well, let me start with what he doesn't do. He doesn't argue or debate with them. That would have been pointless. They were hardly open to having a heart-to-heart, two-way conversation about the matter at hand. They were not in that headspace. Instead, what Jesus does is he writes something in the dirt nearby, and then when he's done, he stands up and says, "Whoever is sinless, throw the first stone." The gospel does not actually tell us precisely what he wrote. However, my favorite theory, it's just a theory, my favorite theory is that Jesus was writing down the crimes and the sins of those Pharisees, complete with a couple of arrows to make things nice and clear. So what Jesus was doing is giving them a jab of humility and reminding them that they were not as morally superior as they wanted to pretend. And by the way, this is where shame is a good thing when it's used correctly. Shame grounds us in our humility. It reminds us that we have issues ourselves to work out on, and it's good to be reminded of that, from time to time, because you can't be humble and an extremist at the same time. That's something of a contradiction. Anyway, so Jesus gives them this jab of humility, and the scribes and Pharisees disperse, presumably out of fear and shame. And then Jesus is free to talk to the woman effectively. And what Jesus says is exactly what the scribes and Pharisees should have said to her at the get-go. "I don't condemn you. Go and sin no more." That is an important detail, by the way. He acknowledges that on some level she has done wrong, but she is nevertheless a child of God. She is loved and she is valued. God is calling her to be the best woman she can be. That means turning away from sin, doing good as best as she can. So, Jesus is just an excellent mentor in this moment. He pushes her to a greater degree of spiritual, moral excellence, but unlike an extremist, he does not abuse her. He does not insult her. He does not mistreat her in any way. And she does not go away feeling unloved or uncared for, even though she is made aware that she could do better with respect to living her life well in the eyes of God. So that's my take on things today, and I want to close by just mentioning I think this gospel is trying to teach us two separate things. So for one, I think we're meant to identify with the woman. We are loved and we are valued by God, but even so, we are called to go forth and sin no more, with confidence that God will always love us, will always take us back when we acknowledge our sins. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that I think we're also called to be Christ-like in the moments when we are called to express our concerns, our opinions, our disagreements, our faith. And no matter what, we should always strive to treat others with love, compassion, and understanding. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and here's to a good Holy Week right around the corner.